Our first official Frieze group is called a hop, and this solely involves translations. So we take our first block here and we're going to translate it. The key here is to not pick up the block, but to put a new block each time in order to complete a pattern. So we have block number 1 and we're just going to translate. That is one translation. Another translation. Our next frieze pattern is called a step. To complete a step, we're going to leave the first block here. We're going to do a glide reflection. So we're going to translate, and then we're going to reflect about the x-axis. So we're going to flip the block and end up on the opposite side of the x-axis. For our next block, we're going to start in the exact same position. Then we are going to translate and reflect about the x-axis to complete a glide reflection. For our third frieze group, which is called a siddle, we're going to translate a block and then we're going to reflect vertically. So let's say we begin right here. We're going to translate this first block, or really our second block. We're going to translate and reflect vertically. Remember, flipping about the y-axis, so we're going to flip our second block. Now, for our third block, we're going to start in the exact same position as our second block. We're going to translate, and we're going to reflect it about the y-axis again. Our fourth frieze group is called the spinning hop. We're going to start our first block here. We're going to translate, and then we're going to rotate 180 degrees, remembering that we are going to cross the x-axis in the process, and our block is going to end up here. Now, for our third block, we're going to start in the exact same position. We're going to translate, and we're going to rotate 180 degrees, ending up again on the opposite side of the x-axis. Fifth frieze group, and possibly the most confusing, is called the spinning siddle. So we're going to begin with a translation and a reflection about the y-axis, a vertical reflection, reflect vertically. Then we're going to start in the exact same position with our third block. We're going to translate, and we're going to rotate 180 degrees. So we're going to end up on the opposite side of the x-axis. Then, for our fourth block, we're going to start in the exact same position as our third block. We're going to translate, and now we're going to reflect about the y-axis once again. For our fifth, we're going to start in the same position as our fourth block. We're going to translate, and then we're going to rotate 180 degrees and end up on the opposite side of the x-axis. Our sixth frieze group is a little different, and it is called the jump. It's a little different because both blocks 1 and 2, are going to be translating together. So we begin like this, and our first move is a horizontal reflection. So we're going to start in the exact same position, reflect horizontally, and now we have our first 2 blocks down. Then, to continue the sequence, we are simply going to translate, but we're going to translate both. So we're going to translate block 1 and 2 to the right. Then we're going to translate blocks 3 and 4 also to the right. The seventh frieze group, called the spinning jump, is very similar to number 6, except we are going to add in a vertical reflection of both blocks. So we're going to start in the same position. We're going to also start with a horizontal reflection, and then we're going to also start with a translation of both blocks. Except the added component to number 7 that is not in number 6 is we're going to reflect these 2 blocks about the y-axis. So we have a reflection, and then we have a reflection. Now, we start our next 2 blocks in the exact same position as 3 and 4. And we translate these blocks, and then we reflect these 2 about the y-axis again. And to complete number 7, we just keep going through that pattern, excluding the first step.